Beach episode? False hype. Sorry, Gooners. Beach episode comes another day. Is this how All Might makes a balanced breakfast? I mean, you're about to get killed by tofu. The worst fucking food on the planet. I'd be feel a little disrespectful myself. No smoking. Okay. Jesus. How much did you pack behind that sign, bro? We're basically using the Crunchyroll argument. Hey, we might have started out as a pirate site, but we're legit now. You can't get mad at us. She might have been a vigilante street performer, but she's doing it legit now. True, I mean, well, I think he could fit in, though the rest of it would be very difficult for him. I mean, maybe if he can clench his, like, manta's ass, he can squeeze through, I don't know. How bad is your aim? Oh, he actually... Interesting. It basically makes it go, whoop. Yo, he's real lucky because otherwise that would have hit his arm. This makes sense. Animators don't expect old Brandon to go frame by frame, but I caught that. You're lucky. You're lucky. Now, whether people want to admit it or not, we actually just witnessed All Might's greatest feat in My Hero Academia history. Now, All Might's been through the ringer over many seasons. I mean, look at the final season and him throwing up a fight with his Iron Man suit. Like, he did some pretty crazy things. We're not going to deny that or take away from those. But whether you like it or not, All Might fighting a giant piece of tofu is the craziest thing this man probably ever did in his career. It is so stupid. It's so outlandish. And the fact that bro unironically fought giant foods and statues on his way to a cafe meeting with his homie. We know what transforming does to his body in the last stages when he could do that. And bro deadass fought giant frog statue thing in tofu. And he meant every goddamn word of it. And that is beautiful. Now, if you got this far on the video, you know what to do. Make sure you drop a like, share your support, subscribe, ring that bell, stay up to date on everything we're watching. And of course, you want to go the extra mile, we do have the Patreon, full live reactions, full uncut thoughts. Live over there. Also does help fund the channel and videos just like these. So, bless your heart, All Might. I fucking love this character. It's really funny because seeing these two interact, especially after bro got his ass popped in the previous episode, and then just seeing like, hey, what were you up to? Well, I was fighting tofu. Oh, what were you up to? Yeah, the Flash decided to shoot me. Anyway, let's move on from that. It's just really cool because I've been told that this season of Vigilantes is going to be a little different than what we're used to. And that is, it's going to focus more on other characters, side characters. Like, not to say that the Crawler and Popstep aren't going to have, like, some stories. But from what I've been told, if this is to be believed, you can correct me if I'm wrong, there will be a lot more emphasis put on other heroes and other stories than just the central, I guess, two at this point, right? Because, you know, Knuckle Duster decided to leave us for his other family, the traitor. But it's actually really fun. I mean, they're tying together from stuff that we had in the first season. Of course, we had the giant prey mantis guy. Bro decided to say, you know what? I can't fit through my door, so you're going to host me unless you want me to go talk to the public. They're like, listen up. We can help you out. We got a nice warehouse with your name on it. And I gotta be real, I don't know what exactly it is, but there's something so fun about essentially a My Hero Academia story arc that's just detective coded. And I think that's what I'm liking, because obviously the personalities and who we're interacting with, they're all entertaining. Of course, you got Eraserhead overlap, you have Fat Gum in the previous episode, All Might, stuff like that. But even just the general cops here, like, they're fun to follow, and I like seeing the frustration, especially when it came to him and his sister, because they are essentially focusing on the same thing, but then they have two very different paths in terms of interpretations of what's been going on. She kind of looks at it as, well, Popstep said that they weren't involved. I trust Popstep. Yes, they were there, but they're being falsely blamed. Where a cop's saying, well, I saw them there, they're clearly hiding. And it's interesting how Bias, even though we know she's actually in the right here and that Popstep really wasn't involved, she just kind of got roped into everything, Bias plays a huge role on how you interpret a scene. And of course, a man who's involved in the law is not going to just naturally assume some child vigilante looking character is in the right. It is funny though that part of his argument is that, well, she used to do street performances illegally. She surely is involved in the crab bullshit. It's kind of funny. Now, the thing that I really liked about last week's episode, and really since the show returned, is that we're actually starting to see our boy the Crawler utilize his abilities in a really cool way. And as I said, I think it was in last week's video, it doesn't feel like he's powering up. It's almost like, I think the best way to say, his training wheels are finally off and he's realizing he can do a lot of things that he never thought possible. We ended the first season with him basically flying. Now, can he replicate that yet? God, no. We now see him act like Spider-Man, which is very useful, but we're also seeing he not only has a sort of shield, but also a gun to use with his abilities. And it's not like, oh my god, he believes in the power of friendship, so now he's able to utilize all the... No, it's just he's figuring out how to do things. That's all it is. And I think this is really cool. So we know he basically has, like, I like to think of it as he's a human air hockey table. I always say that. Sometimes people get pissed off. I don't give a fuck. But imagine he just has constant fans here. It's natural that if a missile hits this, it would be deflected. And if you do go frame by frame, that's exactly what happened. It really was going to hit like right at his elbow, and then it just kind of like jumped up. So thank God it did that, because otherwise he would have lost his arm. But then again, he does get hit in the face and it doesn't seem like it hurt that much. So maybe I'm wrong. But either way, it's a really cool thing. And by the end of the episode, we actually see that he's able to do like puffs of air. So it's like a projectile. Now, Knuckle Duster's catching strays. Basically, the way he is continuing to teach these kids is how not to be like him. Because it is true, he does beat up a lot of people, and then in doing so, they realize, oh, the guy wasn't involved, maybe we shouldn't have busted his kneecaps. But I think it's wrong for Popstep to say, we just should never use this. If you're fighting Stain, if you're fighting Shigaraki, blasting them from a distance is always going to be correct. Like, I think it's like, yes, maybe we don't jump to firing and shooting people until we know they deserve it. Because yes, it could be deadly. We could take a head off. Who knows what type of pressure he'll be able to do someday. But never using it is not the solution. And also, it does have me kind of interested because I'm starting to think of like Deku. I don't know if they'll ever do this, but it's really fun because this ability has a lot of potential. And I'm just imagining, like, you could have Batman level batarangs, hold it, and you could probably release it by just doing a little puff of air. You could have cables or ropes, so someone's running away from you, and it can almost launch in a very fast fashion because you just use the gust of air and it could wrap her. There's a lot of potential for utility items with just what he's learned how to do with his hand. And it'll be interesting to see what they do. Now, they are trying to figure out who the hell this guy is, and there's a hero apparently in this world called O'Clock. Horrible hero name, but very similar abilities. So they naturally are like, it could be him, but we can't just naturally assume, because especially if you've seen the main series, you know how many heroes have very similar abilities and how DNA can, you know, overlap and stuff like that. Turns out this dude was actually trained by O'Clock. He calls him Master in this episode. So what happened there? Not sure, but I believe O'Clock probably wouldn't be too happy with him knowing what's happening here, basically. Either way, this is a really good season. It's a shame that not a lot of people care about it to the same degree as the main series. I do think Vigilantes is on par with the early seasons of the main My Hero Academia show. Of course, it's not as good as the second half of My Hero Academia, or maybe even 2/3 of it currently, because the story was just obviously more deeper. This is a shorter self-contained story. But I do think Vigilantes is on par with the first 3 seasons of My Hero, and it's a very enjoyable, not trying to do the same thing, but doing a different take on this world, and I think that's fantastic. You can let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like, share your support, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell. Patreon is where you're going to catch my full live reactions, so some more like Halo to give video shows to my patrons, because without them, you wouldn't even see these YouTube videos. So today we got Zidane, Kenneth Dade, Wayne Eldequist, and we also have Old Man. So I appreciate the support. Please take care. You'll have a good one.